Hello everyone. You are listening to this audiobook on channel Voice for Purpose by NSS IIT Bombay.
The Fighting Cocks and the Eagle. Two gamecocks were fighting fiercely for the mastery of the farmyard. One, at last, put the other to flight. The vanquished cock skulked away and hid himself in a quiet corner. The conqueror, flying up to a high wall, flapped his wings and crowed exultingly with all his might. An eagle, sailing through the air, pounced upon him and carried him off in his talons. The vanquished cock immediately came out of his corner and ruled henceforth with undisputed mastery. Therefore, pride goes before destruction. The frogs desiring a king. The frogs were living as happy as could be in a marshy swamp that just suited them. They went splashing about, caring for nobody, and nobody troubled them. But some of them thought that this was not right, that they should have a king and a proper constitution. So they determined to set up a petition to Jove to give them what they wanted. "Mighty Jove," they cried, "send unto us a king that will rule over us and keep us in order." Jove laughed at their croaking and threw down into the swamp a huge log, which came down with a splash into the swamp. The frogs were frightened out of their lives by the commotion made in their midst, and all rushed to the bank to look at the horrible monster. But after a time, seeing that it did not move, one or two of the boldest of them ventured out towards the log, and even dared to touch it. Still it did not move. Then the greatest hero of the frogs jumped upon the log and commenced dancing up and down upon it. Thereupon all the frogs came and did the same. And for some time the frogs went about their business every day without taking the slightest notice of their new king log lying in their midst. But this did not suit them. So they sent another petition to Jove and said to him, "We want a real king, one that will really rule over us." Now this made Jove angry. So he sent among them a big stork that soon set to work gobbling them all up. Then the frogs repented when too late. Better no rule than cruel rule. The Hare and the Tortoise. The hare was once boasting of his speed before the other animals. "I have never yet been beaten," he said. "When I put forth my full speed, I challenge anyone here to race with me." The tortoise said quietly, "I accept your challenge." "That is a good joke," said the hare. "I could dance round you all the way." "Keep your boasting till you have been beaten," answered the tortoise. "Shall we race?" So a course was fixed and a start was made. The hare darted almost out of sight at once, but soon stopped, and to show his contempt for the tortoise, lay down to have a nap. The tortoise plodded on and plodded on, and when the hare awoke from his nap, he saw the tortoise just near the winning post, and could not run up in time to save the race. Then the tortoise said, "Slow and steady wins the race." The Horse, Hunter, and Stag. A quarrel had arisen between the horse and the stag. So the horse came to a hunter to ask his help to take revenge on the stag. The hunter agreed, but said, "If you desire to conquer the stag, you must permit me to place this piece of iron between your jaws, so that I may guide you with these reins, and allow the saddle to be placed upon your back, so that I may keep steady upon you as we follow after the enemy." The horse agreed to the conditions, and the hunter soon saddled and bridled him. Then, with the aid of the hunter, the horse soon overcame the stag and said to the hunter, "Now get off and remove those things from my mouth and back." "Not so fast, friend," said the hunter. "I have now got you under bit and spur, and prefer to keep you as you are at present. If you allow men to use for your own purposes, they will use you for theirs." The mice and the weasels. The weasels and the mice waged a perpetual warfare with each other, in which much blood was shed. The weasels were always the victors. The mice thought that the cause of their frequent defeats was that they had not leaders set apart from the general army to command them, and that they were exposed to dangers from want of discipline. They chose therefore such mice as were most renowned for their family descent, strength, and counsel, as well as most noted for their courage in the fight, that they might marshal them in battle array, and form them into troops, regiments, and battalions. When all this was done, and the army disciplined, and the herald mouse had duly proclaimed war by challenging the weasels, the newly chosen generals bound their heads with straws, that they might be more conspicuous to all their troops. Scarcely had the battle commenced when a great rout overwhelmed the mice, who scampered off as fast as they could to their holes. The generals, not being able to get in account of their ornaments on their heads, were all captured and eaten by the weasels. The more honor, the more danger. The Labourer and the Nightingale. A labourer lay listening to a nightingale's song throughout the summer night. So pleased was he with it that the next day he set a trap for it and captured it. "Now that I have caught you," he cried, "thou shalt always sing to me." "We nightingales never sing in a cage," said the bird. "Then I'll eat you," said the labourer. "I have always heard that a nightingale on a toast is a dainty morsel." "Nay, kill me not," said the nightingale, "but let me free, and I'll tell these 3 things far better worth than my poor body." The labourer let him loose, and he flew up to a branch of a tree and said, "Never believe a captive's promise, that's one thing. Then again, keep what you have. And third, a sorrow not over what is lost forever." Then the songbird flew away. The Frog and the Ox. "Oh, father," said a little frog to the big one sitting by the side of a pool, "I have seen such a terrible monster. It was as big as a mountain, with horns on its head and a long tail, and it had hoofs divided in 2. "Tush, child, tush," said the old frog. "That was only Farmer White's ox. It isn't so big either. He may be a little bit taller than I, but I could easily make myself quite as broad. You see?" So he blew himself out, and blew himself out, and blew himself out. "Was he as big as that?" he asked. "Oh, much bigger than that," said the young frog. Again the old one blew himself out and asked the younger one if the ox was as big as that. "Bigger, father, bigger," was the reply. So the frog took a deep breath and blew and blew and blew, and he swelled and swelled and swelled. And then he said, "I'm sure the ox is not as big as this," but at this moment he burst. The moral of the story: self-conceit may lead to self destruction. Stag in the ox stall. A stag, hardly pressed by the hounds and blind through fear to the danger he was running into, took shelter in a farmyard and hid himself in a shed among the oxen. An ox gave him this kindly warning: "O unhappy creature, why should you thus, of your own accord, incur destruction and trust yourself in the house of your enemy?" The stag replied, "Do you only suffer me, friend, to stay where I am, and I will undertake to find some favorable opportunity of effecting my escape." At the approach of the evening, the herdsman came to feed his cattle, but did not see the stag, and even the farm bailiff, with several laborers, passed through the shed and failed to notice him. The stag, congratulating himself on his safety, began to express his sincere thanks to the oxen who had kindly afforded him help in the hour of need. One of them again answered him, "We indeed wish you well, but the danger is not over. There is one other yet to pass through the shed, who has it were 100 eyes, and until he has come and gone, your life is still in peril." At that moment, the master himself entered, and having had to complain that his oxen had not been properly fed, he went up to their racks and cried out, "Why is there such a scarcity of fodder? There is not half enough straw for them to lie on. Those lazy fellows have not even swept the cobwebs away." While he thus examined everything in turn, he spied the tips of the antlers of the stag peeping out of the straw. Then, summoning his laborers, he ordered that the stag should be seized and killed. The Fox and the Stork. At one time, the fox and the stork were on visiting terms and seemed very good friends. So the fox invited the stork to dinner, and for a joke put nothing before her but some soup in a very shallow dish. This the fox could easily lap up, but the stork could only wet the end of her long bill in it, and left the meal as hungry as when she began. "I am sorry," said the fox, "the soup is not to your liking." "Pray do not apologize," said the stork. "I hope you will return this visit and come and dine with me soon." So a day was appointed when the fox should visit the stork. But when they were seated at table, all that was there for their dinner was contained in a very long-necked jar with a narrow mouth in which the fox could not insert his snout. So all he could manage to do was to lick the outside of the jar. "I will not apologize for the dinner," said the stork. The moral of the story: one bad turn deserves another. The Dog and the Cook. A rich man gave a great feast, to which he invited many friends and acquaintances. His dog availed himself of the occasion to invite a stranger dog, a friend of his, saying, "My master gives a feast. You will have unusually good cheer. Come and sup with me tonight." The dog, thus invited, went at the hour appointed, and seeing the preparations for so grand an entertainment, said in the joy of his heart, "How glad that I came! I do not often get such a chance as this. I will take care and eat enough to last me both today and tomorrow." While he thus congratulated himself and wagged his tail as if he would convey a sense of his pleasure to his friend, the cook saw him moving about his dishes, and seizing him by his fore and hind paws, bundled him without ceremony out of the window. He fell with force upon the ground and limped away, howling dreadfully. His yelling soon attracted other street dogs, who came up to him and inquired how he had enjoyed his supper. He replied, "Why, To tell you the truth, I drank so much wine that I remembered nothing. I did not know how I got out of the house. Uninvited guests seldom meet a welcome.
So hope you guys had fun. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting audiobooks.